This is the crazy one, and right now we're gonna go check out the phone. Hello?
Hello, hey.
Hey, this is, I know who this is. Yeah. This is, sorry, I kind of just lost my train of thought there for a second. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we are speaking to a couple members from the band Goodbye June, and as soon as they let me know who they are, then you will know.
Hey, this is Tyler Baker, and I'm the guitarist for Goodbye June, and we have Landon. Landon, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Landon Milbourn, and I'm the lead vocalist for Goodbye June. Pleasure to be on here.
Hey, no problem, guys. I want to say hello and welcome to the G-Spot. What's going on?
Dude, not too much. Enjoying this beautiful weather we're having here in Nashville. How's everything out in Dawson?
Well, it's gotten warmer, fortunately and thankfully, but it is raining. So I can deal with the rain. It's the cold weather that I get sick of.
There you go.
Don't get too much of that down here, so you just keep that up there with you.
Well, hey, anytime you guys want to take some home with you, you can give me a call. The story of Goodbye June is an absolutely inspirational one, to say the least. Can you guys talk briefly about how the band came to existence?
Yeah. Well, first off, we're all cousins, and our other cousin Brandon, he's the other member of the band. He was unable to make the phone call he wanted to, but he had a family commitment. He couldn't make the call, and he's out in the mountains somewhere with his family. He said he couldn't get good cell reception, so it didn't work out. But anyway, we're all first cousins, and what brought us together was the death of my brother, Landon and Brandon's cousin, and back in 2005, and at the funeral, we had all been involved in music before and kind of done our own separate things, and we had played, and we had actually grew up playing in church, and we all knew that we played music, and we all always wanted to be in a band together. So I think at the funeral we really it made us come together, and we decided that we wanted to start a band and really pursue music together, because life's too short, and it was a good way for us to kind of find an emotional release, a healthy emotional release to music. So that's kind of the beginning of the Goodbye June, and then we really started to get going in 2009 when we moved from all of our homes. Landon was West Tennessee, and me and Brandon were in Indiana. We all kind of converged in Nashville, Tennessee. So really got going. We kind of formed the idea and started writing songs and doing kind of little things from 2005 to 2009. But 2009 is when we really started getting going. So that's kind of how we got up and got going and started doing this.
You're definitely a different sound. I actually I don't want to say compared, but I did. I compared your debut CD with some off of your newest, which we're going to talk about right now, your newest endeavor, Daisy. How did the conception for this CD come about? For your second CD, did you build off the first one for this one?
Yeah. Our first album was us really, just honing in trying to figure out what we wanted to do, what direction we wanted to take. So the first album, More the Wild Music Flow, has a lot of different taste, I guess. You got some hard rocking songs, and you got some more, more softer, more, vibey stuff going on. And so you just got a little bit of everything going on that album. So I think it was just a maturing process for us with that album, and we love that album. And I think with Daisy and the new album that's going to be coming out in the next few months, it was more of it's kind of like a raw, we wanted to just really rock out and just make a statement that we're a rock band. And so that's what you're going to get, kind of that garage, grungy type sound, big heavy drums, screaming guitars and vocals. And we just really wanted to kind of establish a more direct path to this album. And we worked with a killer producer by the name of Paul Moak here in Nashville, and he's done The Weeks and Matt Carney, The Leagues, a bunch of other great bands. And we vibed well with him, and we actually met him the first time we'd ever met him. We wrote and recorded Daisy in like 5 hours. And that was the first song on the new album, so that's what we got in just a few hours, and it was a great relationship. And so we ended up, recording the rest of the album. Hope to get that out soon. But I know you have a few tracks off of that album, correct?
Actually, I just got the stream. That was it. But I had Daisy, and I was going to say the single and self-titled track, Daisy, is different with a sound that is very stylish. Was Daisy going to be the self-titled song to the album and the first release?
Not necessarily. I mean, we just kind of wrote that. We knew we wanted to do a second album, but we had met with Paul and wrote that song. We really didn't have a time frame or any details lined up to record an album. We were just simply doing a writing session because we had really respected his work and enjoyed the opportunity to work with him. So Daisy was just really kind of out of nowhere, really. And it was just all full of us, me, Tyler Brandon, and then our producer just kind of collectively writing that song. And that was our first co-write ever as well. The first album was just us rewriting all the music. This album, Paul helped us out a little bit on a few songs. So it was nice to have his perception too, and somebody new. But he's toured with several bands, and he's just been on the road pretty much his whole life up until the last few years when he opened up the studio here. It was nice to have somebody like that to kind of give you a little bit of a different take, and so he really helped us with the sounds we got on that song in particular. The message of Daisy, I mean, it's just a simple, clear-cut message, just a fun, lovey-dovey type song, girls driving me nuts, but it was really out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was really organic, I think. It just kind of oozed from all of us, and then we got really excited about that song. We got really excited about kind of the thought of the second album, and I think Daisy was one of the things that kind of ignited a spark underneath us and our record label to really push and complete the second album, because we were still in kind of the first album cycle, if that makes sense. It was a little premature, just a little bit, to start the second album, but everybody got so excited about the sounds and what was happening that we all hustled and cut our second album, and we're getting ready to go back in the studio and cut a couple more strong songs, and hopefully going to be completing the album here in the next week or two, and then who knows when we'll release it, but we're hoping in the next 3-4 months. What a game plan.
That totally makes sense. I get where you're coming from with that. Your sound is just amazing. You jam, man. There's no other way to say you jam, but you know what I mean? And it's great. I love music that you can, myself, I'll sit there and I'll listen and I'll notice my foot starting tapping, and I won't even realize it. And when that happens, I know something good's going on. And that's exactly what I got from you guys. Other than Daisy, that particular track, is there any other track or tracks off the new CD that resonate more with you than the others?
I know from my point of view, there's a couple deeply personal songs that I know Landon wrote one called Darlin', and then we wrote one which may or may not be on the final cut of the album. We're hoping it's going to be we think it's going to be on like a deluxe version of the album, but it's called Fear of Jesus, and that is a really deeply personal song to all of us, just kind of about our upbringing, because we were all ultra conservative, come from Pentecostal families, and which is the reason we were around music, which was awesome, but it's very, very, very conservative upbringing, and there was just a lot of questions and conflict, and a lot of emotion between our upbringing and what we've decided to do, which is be a rock band, which is us all growing up with. You didn't do that at all. Like that meant you're going to hell. So it's it's kind of one of those things. It's a deeply personal song that kind of addresses all of that emotion. We wanted to at least have one song that kind of encapsulated that. So that's a really personal song to me. And Landon, if you got one, you can talk about it.
I think overall, and Greg, we're gonna get you a few more tracks too that we have, and one of those we're singing is called "Danger in the Morning," and it's kind of a heavy hitting, type song. It's very vocally and guitar strong, and that's one of my favorites, and we'll be singing that one. But we'd love to get your feedback on it too, and let us know what you're thinking to get them. But yeah, we're just excited about all of it, really. There's not really one song that I'm like, nah. so you're proud of everything you put out.
I know I asked this question of many artists, and it's really not fair to ask it, but you never know, because one song you may have a little more tie to than, you know what I mean? Like you said, the track you were talking about is very personal to you. It may be personal to one member, but not all the members, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of like to get a feel for that.
To kind of go with what Tyler said, you know, like there's times where I'll come to Tyler and Brandon with the song, Darlin', the one he brought up, and, you know, they'll help me perfect that and make it work. But obviously that one's a little more closer to me because I spent a little bit more time on it. And the same with Tyler. You know, he has tracks where he did the same thing and Brandon did the same thing. So we definitely all have those songs that are maybe a little bit closer. But at the end of the day, like, we treat just about every song the same, and we want it to all be super proud of it. And if we don't like it, you know, we scrap it or we try to rebuild it. So it's a really healthy writing style that we have, and especially with us being family, it's easy to just be like, dude, that's not good enough. We can do better, and nobody really gets offended. So it's nice to have that atmosphere when you're writing, because, you know, when you write with other people, sometimes you don't want to, like, you know, say, hey, your idea sucks, and then, you know, they never want to write with you again. It's nice to have that relationship with your band members.
That was actually my next question. What is the writing and recording process like when you guys get together in a room?
Yeah, it varies. Tyler might be able to shed a little light on that.
I think we're all, when in the beginning of Goodbye June, we all really relied heavily on each other to create and kind of produce strong ideas. I think now that we've been doing this for long enough, and we have our first full-length album out already, and by the way, that first album, that was the best of, we probably scrapped 20 or 30 or 40 or maybe even 50 songs before we landed on our first album. So we had wrote a lot of music before on our first album, and then our second album was even a more intense process because we had kind of a bigger machine behind us and a lot more, you know, opinions from, you know, A&R guys and different things kind of chiming in. I think we're all three much stronger songwriters in our own right. And the great thing, what I love about our process, is that Landon will come to me and Brandon with just a genius, you know, what I personally think is a genius idea, and I might hear one or two things just a little different, you know, like, hey man, let's change this melody, or let's repeat this melody, or let's repeat this is your hook, you know, and we all three do that to each other, so I can bring in, you know, almost a completed, you know, song musically, and Landon and Brandon will kind of speak into it, and it'll turn out so much better than what I could have made it. And I feel like we kind of have that synergy with all three of us, always kind of speaking into each other's music to make it appropriate for Goodbye June. So there's the reason why we can do that is because we trust each other, and I know not only they're my family, so they always have my back and they're always looking out for me, but, you know, I respect them musically, because I think Landon and Brandon are both some of the best songwriters I'm probably ever going to meet in my life. I mean, in my opinion. So it's like, you know.
You too, man.
Well, thanks, man. I love you, man. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, so there's a trust there. I've talked to a lot of bands, and a lot of times the songwriting comes from, a lot of times it's one, you know, kind of one pillar from the band. The songwriting always comes from one guy, maybe two guys. But the fact that I feel like it's pretty equally spread out between three family members, I think it's pretty special to our situation.
And it definitely is, because as you were telling me about this right now, it's kind of funny. You need that in a band. I checked out some of your YouTube videos, and you guys just rock, man. You flow nice and smoothly. The cohesive work that you do, you each have a job and you do it very well. I give you a lot of credit. That's tough to find. It really is. There is one track I checked out, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but from your debut CD, Nor the Wild Music Flow. The song is Man I Am, and it is tantalizing. The guitar work is shimmering, and I just want to know what it's like performing that song live.
That's a real fun one for Tyler. He kind of gets to go in the feedback world on that one. In heaven on that one.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. That song formed, Landon was on the drum kit. Landon and Brandon, they both play. They're multi-instrumentalists. They play keys, They both play drums, play about anything you put in front of them. I can only play guitar, but so Landon was behind the drum kit, and it was just kind of me and him jamming, and we had come up with the chorus riff, and it just sounded so, Led Zeppelin to me.
Yeah.
I was like so excited about that riff. I was like, man, this could have been on like a Led Zeppelin album, like this is a riff. And we just got real excited about it, and the whole song formed around it, and we wanted it to just have that train, the big drum beats, the big, it's kind of a song that's great for, a show opener. It's like it just puts it all out there. So it's fun to perform, yeah.
No, you said it exactly, because when I started listening to it, that's Zeppelin first, Floyd second.
We'll take either one of those. Those are pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
It just gave me that Zeppelin feeling. It really did. And it was a great song.
That's thank you for the compliments on that. And, that's something that's more of I'd say off the first album, comparing it to our next album, that style, that Man I Am style, we kind of hinted around that a little bit more on this album, like I said. So I think you'll really enjoy some of the tracks we'll be sending over to you. And Danger in the Morning was one I brought up, and that's we refer to it as Man I Am 2.0. So hopefully you like that one.
Well, I can't wait till you guys send it, and I get to check it out. I'm looking forward to it. Who are some of your musical influences?
For me personally, and I think for all of us too, we all kind of share a lot. We all have a little bit of different with musical taste, but for the most part, we all kind of hone in the same stuff. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with Zeppelin, of course. We kind of live older music. I don't listen to the radio much at all. Radio stations that are playing music that I know I'm going to like, and I hear Boston's got that going on pretty well. So, but so we live in that kind of older world, and we try to take all the influences that we get from bands like TCR, Zeppelin, Floyd, all these great bands from that era. And there's a few from this era too, Kings of Leon, Black Keys, a lot of their older stuff we love. I love all their stuff, but so we just try to take that older style feel and, make it, put a little modern edge on it and, put our twist on it, and I think that's kind of where I come from a lot anyway.
That's where we start, I feel like. That's, and then sometimes it goes on a wild left field tangent or, stay true. Like, Man I Am, we knew we wanted, that when the levee breaks type of inspiration, and that's just kind of where the whole song we drew from that and did our take on it kind of. But I totally agree with Landon. I grew up on Creedence Clearwater Revival. My father told me when I was a little boy, he said, if you ever meet somebody that doesn't like Creedence Clearwater Revival, you're probably not going to like that person. So he told me that was kind of a filter for me when I was, I made friends, I think. So,
I like CCR. I always have, so.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's why we're getting along so well, I guess.
One more quick question, I'll let you go. What can we expect next from Goodbye June in 2014?
We're working hard on putting this new album out of bed, and that's the focus right now. We've been in the studio a lot here recently and just tidying everything up, writing new songs, and finishing all that up. And then we're hitting the festival loop a little bit here, playing Forecastle in Louisville with a bunch of great killer bands, Jack White and Gary Clark Jr. and Dwight Yoakam, which I'm personally really excited about here. But I love Dwight Yoakam. So we're doing building up a tour as well in the next few months. But right now we've just really been focusing on getting this album done and put out there. And then I know we've got another European tour we're trying to set in the books for the end of this year or beginning of next year. We did a 6-week tour last fall and had great reception there in 8 different countries in Europe, so it was a blast, and we're looking to do that again soon too. So that's kind of stuff we got working in our pipeline right now.
Cool, man. I've taken up enough of your time. I know you're on the road and you're trying to get somewhere right now. I want to personally thank you both, Brandon and Tyler, from Goodbye June, for calling in and chatting with us this afternoon. All I can say is I wish you the best. I can't wait to see you guys come up this way, too.
We can't wait. I don't think we've ever been up that far northeast, so it would be a blast for sure. And I'm a big history fan, so I want to see your beautiful city.
Awesome, man. Listen, it is beautiful. New England is amazing all times of the year, and I'm almost positive you guys would absolutely enjoy it. And I know you'd love the fans too, because they'll definitely get into you guys.
That's awesome. Well, we really appreciate you having us, Greg. Thank you so much.
Yeah, kind brother. And we'll talk again before long. And dude, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate everyone listening. And good, real independent music is still out there. So support your local artists. It's still out there, everybody.
That's the truth. I know all about it. You guys take it easy. Drive safe. Have a good one, guys.
All right. Thank you, brother.
Later. Ladies and gentlemen, the band Goodbye June. And that's going to just about wrap it up for me this evening. So I am going to play a song for you from Goodbye June. This is a new track off their new CD, Daisy. And that's the name of this track, Daisy. Have a great weekend. Rock and roll. Don't drink and drive. I am Crazy G for the G Spot. And this is Goodbye June, Daisy, right here on WSUR.